Devil fruits are one of the biggest sources of power in the One Piece world, along with haki. As the name suggests, these fruits are quite special as they grant special powers to those who eat them but take away their ability to swim. Although not every devil fruit has the same power, they all make the user stronger than they were before eating them. A special stage of devil fruit powers, known as awakening, is unlocked in extremely rare cases. Awakened devil fruits start affecting the surroundings of the user and make them much stronger. Today we'll discuss the top 10 strongest One Piece characters that are awakened devil fruit users. But before we start this video, please smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe and click notification bell, or you will miss future anime videos. Doflamingo ate the string fruit, which grants him the ability to create and manipulate strings. He usually moves his fingers accordingly to bend them as he pleases for either manipulating people like puppets or bifurcating his targets. The strings are extremely thin, and some may even be invisible, making it almost impossible to notice and avoid them. Using his parasite move, Doflamingo forces comrades to fight and even kill each other, while Doflamingo himself sits at the sidelines and watches. He has shown himself capable of controlling large amounts of people at the same time without any apparent effort. The strings can also be used for cutting, allowing Doflamingo to effortlessly slice off body parts and destroy weapons. He can also glide or fly in midair by attaching his strings to clouds, creating a sky path, as seen when he did so to cross over the seas to reach Punk Hazard from Dressrosa. Doflamingo's mastery of his devil fruit is so advanced that he was able to awaken his powers, being able to even turn his surroundings into string. Kid ate the Jiki no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit that allows him to manipulate magnetic forces. He can attract and or repel metal objects as he pleases, and he can also create magnetic fields that allow him to arrange metal objects into various configurations and constructs. Kid can arrange the metal objects stuck to his body into a variety of shapes, with his most common technique being to form a gigantic metal arm to unleash powerful attacks with. This power makes Kid a very dangerous opponent against fighters who use metal weapons, since he can either repel metal projectiles, such as cannonballs and bullets, or attract his enemies' blades and guns towards himself to use as building material for his own attacks. Kid has achieved Devil Fruit Awakening, allowing him to bestow magnetic properties onto things other than his own body. By his own admission, he has not fully mastered his awakened powers, and it takes a serious toll on his stamina. Lo ate the Apeope no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit which allows him to create a sphere of light blue aura, inside which he can manipulate the fabric of space. Inside the aura sphere, he can exert complete control over the fabric of space, referred to as the ability to operate on anything within the spherical operating room. He can move things within the area of the sphere telekinetically and make things, including himself and other people, swap locations via teleportation. However, he cannot move other people with strong haki very far, as they possess more resistance to Lo's power. He can also swap incorporeal things, such as souls, resulting in the victim swapping bodies. He is also able to cut things from a distance and without actually damaging them, as well as reassemble things into various combinations. He can even attach living body parts to inanimate objects. Living things cut into pieces by this power remain alive and still able to move, even if the head is removed from the body. Lo can use his power to generate high voltage energy. He can generate electrical energy to shock his opponents, and he can generate a blade of energy that he can use to damage his enemy's internal organs without leaving an external wound. This power can also be used for medical purposes. Lo has achieved Devil Fruit Awakening, allowing him to create and adhere a miniature rune to his weapons, which then gain the ability to harmlessly bypass anything solid and directly operate on the insides of whatever they may phase through. This directly addresses one of the fruit's biggest weaknesses, which is the stationary nature of his field of range. Puncture Willy is one of Lo's most destructive awakened techniques. Lo positions himself on top of a down target and pierces them with Kikoku, pining their bodies down to the floor as his sword continuously extends downward and phases through the ground or whatever is in his way. Once Kikoku reaches a certain depth, Lo releases a powerful shockwave that implodes everything solid pierced by the blade, causing massive damage to living beings and creating huge holes on rocky surfaces. This move was strong enough to cause a massive crater near the flower capital, and was first used against Big Mom, visibly injuring her to an extreme degree. Katakuri ate the Mochi Mochi no Mi, a special paramecia-type devil fruit that lets him create, control, and transform into mochi at will. His mochi is extremely thick and adhesive, allowing him to trap even extremely strong enemies with it, although it loses its effectiveness when exposed to moisture. The fruit allows Katakuri to avoid physical attacks seemingly like a Logia user, although instead of the attack simply going through his body, he uses his superior Kinbashoku Haki to predict where he'll be hit and change the shape of his malleable mochi body accordingly to dodge with minimal movement. He frequently uses these abilities in hand-to-hand combat, sprouting several tendrils of mochi on his body to act as extra fists or legs. He can imbue these tendrils with haki to deliver hard punches and kicks. By concentrating mochi into a single fist, Katakuri is capable of delivering punches of devastating power. Katakuri has also awakened his devil fruit powers, enabling him to transform inorganic material into mochi, enhancing the range of his attacks and capture field. Aramaki ate the Mori Mori no Mi, a Logia-type devil fruit that allows him to create, control, and transform his body into plant life. Aramaki can generate large quantities of plants to unleash overwhelming large-scale attacks. When attacking the beast pirates, he turned his fingers into sharpened tree branches and freely grew them to impale dozens of enemies over a large area with ease. Additionally, Aramaki's plants can rapidly absorb any liquid they touch, which includes dehydrating living creatures after impaling them, leaving them as shriveled husks. It has also been shown that ordinary grass, trees, and flowers grow in his wake on any surface Aramaki touches, resulting in him leaving behind a trail of plants wherever he walks. This was shown when Udon, which is known to be a barren and desolate area, was shown with greenery for the first time in many years. This may be a hint that he has awakened his devil fruit. Kuzan has the powers of the Ice fruit, a Logia devil fruit that allows him to control, create, and become ice. He can create enough ice to cover a giant, a sea king, or several square miles of ocean within mere moments. He was even able to freeze the tsunamis created by Whitebeard, despite their size surpassing that of Marineford. In battle, he uses his ice powers to disable and immobilize enemies, freezing their bodies solid just by touching them, and threatening to shatter their fragile forms. Like other Logia users, he is capable of breaking himself into his particular element to avoid damage from most physical attacks. This fruit is so powerful that his usage of it during his 10-day battle with the Kainu permanently changed the weather on one side of Punk Hazard, turning that side into a frozen wasteland. This may be a hint that he has awakened his devil fruit. Sakazuki possesses the Magma fruit, a Logia-class devil fruit which grants him the ability to transform his body into magma and manipulate it at will, as well as produce near-limitless amounts of it. As a Logia, Sakazuki can let physical attacks pass through him without injury, and can only be wounded with the use of Haki, Sea Stone, being caught off guard, and his elemental weakness. His ability is naturally of a higher order than Ace's pyrokinetic abilities, as the higher heat and smothering abilities of his magma allowed him to successfully harm Ace despite Ace's Logia defense, and ultimately kill Ace due to this superiority. The destructive heat and explosive powers from the magma enables a Kainu to cause massive damage and to take on people like Emporio Ivankov and Jinbei with minimal effort. During the decisive 10-day battle on Punk Hazard for the position of Fleet Admiral, Akainu showed the furious power of his devil fruit as he changed the weather of one side of Punk Hazard and left it in a blaze. Since he was able to change the environment into magma and lava, we can assume that Akainu has awakened his devil fruit. After the death of his previous owner, Linlin somehow acquired the powers of the soul fruit, a paramecia-type devil fruit that allows her to manifest people's souls as an ethereal substance that she can grab hold of. So long as the intended victim feels fear, she can then steal the soul from the victim, taking away their lifespan by an amount of her choosing. Once she has them, Big Mom can infuse the stolen souls into objects to give them life, turning them into beings called homies, which act as her servants. Nearly anything can be made into a homie, including animals, plants, minerals, liquids, furniture, food, buildings, and even intangible things such as fire, air, and light. Anything made into a homie gains human-like attributes, such as the ability to walk and talk. The only things that cannot be made into homies are people and corpses. Recently, we have seen some techniques that could prove to be the result of soul fruit awakening. While souls cannot be infused into living beings, the user themselves appears to be an exception to a certain extent. It is possible for one to sacrifice a portion of their own lifespan in exchange for extra power and size, with the amount of strength gained being dependent on the strength of the soul. In addition, the user can turn their individual body parts into homies themselves, allowing said parts to act independently of the user's own normal bodily functions. Big Mom, for example, can give life to her own skeleton and order it to restructure itself in case of broken bones, thus providing a unique form of self-healing. Kaido ate the fish fruit model Azure Dragon, a mythical Zoan-type devil fruit that allows him to transform into a full serpentine azure dragon and a human-dragon hybrid at will. By breathing flames in the shape of a dragon around his body, Kaido can coat himself in a layer of heat so intense that it can instantly melt substances that come in contact with it, such as stone, discouraging physical attacks. Aside from his fire breath, Kaido can also release other elemental attacks from his mouth. He can release bolts of lightning by roaring, or invisible, sharp wind blades by blowing. By twisting his massive body, Kaido can create tornadoes, which can blow his enemies off the battlefield and into the air. Kaido has mastered his devil fruit powers to the level that he can access some of his draconic abilities without needing to transform, such as generating flame clouds to levitate on Onigashima. He was even able to do so while battling against 5 members of the worst generation, alongside Big Mom. While not explicitly stated, it is very likely that Kaido showed his awakening form during his fight with Luffy, as noted by many. Luffy ate the Gomu Gomu no Mi, originally known as the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, a mythical Zoan-type devil fruit that allows the user to transform into the legendary sun god Nika and gain his attributes, namely a body with the properties of rubber. Once the fruit is awakened, the user undergoes a drastic transformation. Their hair becomes fiery and white, their eyes become more manic-like, and they gain a strange wisp around their body. They also gain the ability to freely alter their physique however they desire, being able to inflate their muscles without the need to blow air into them. In addition, they can alter the environment around them in a similar way, such as using the ground to deflect oncoming attacks. This also extends to living beings, as Luffy can manipulate flesh as if it were rubbery. Similar to previous developments of him using the fruit, Luffy dubs his awakening gear 5 inches. Kaido likens the awakening of the Gomu Gomu no Mi to being like a Paramecia's awakening while simultaneously displaying a Zoan's ability to transform. According to the 5 elders, the fruit had not been awakened for centuries prior to Luffy's having done so. They consider that preventing the fruit from awakening might be worth incurring the wrath of Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, suggesting that they greatly fear the fruit's power.